Hello, good evening, sir. My name is Preet Miawala, and this is my course project. This is a section one. Suppose section one's question. This is saying that we have a point x comma y and temperature at any x comma y is given by this equation, and the distance is in meters, and it is moving counterclockwise. Also, the radius is 1 meter, and it is constant, changing the constant rate by uh, to 2 meter per second. So first question is how fast the temperature experienced by the particle changing in the degree Celsius per meter unit for the given point. Now the first solution, this here is the point we have to find the tangent and this point in the direction of the motion. So that is obtained by this equation. Now for given t of x comma y, we have to firstly find the gradient of t at this point, which is this. After that, we have to find the rate of the temperature experienced by the particle at the unit where given unit vector is this is in the for the function and in the direction of the unit vector. The directional derivative is gradient of t dot u caret. So putting this all value and substituting, we obtain this as answer 0.935 degrees Celsius per minute. Now part B, for that we have to find how fast the temperature experienced by the particle changing in the degrees Celsius per second at the P. Uh, now firstly we will modify the order of we will firstly uh, find the path of the particle for a 1 unit circle, and its rate is changing 2 meter per second given. So we get the path equation as sin 2t I cap cos 2t j cap. We want to find the velocity vector. So differentiating this vector with respect to t, we will get velocity vector, and value of this velocity is 2. Now we have to find temperature, change in temperature with respect to t. So we differentiate with respect to t. Since the t is a function of x and y, we can write like this separately, which is nothing but the dot product of the gradient of t and uh, gradient of t and vector v. So uh, what we have to find a unit vector. So divided by its value and multiply its that value. So we get this term, and substituting all this value we will get 1.87 degrees Celsius per second. Now second question, the Celsius temperature at the point is given by this equation, and particle is moving by this given parametric forms. So where the time is measured by distance in meters. So this is a information about the dimension which we use. Now, how fast the temperature experienced by the particle changing in the degree Celsius per meter at the given point. So here we have to only find the change in the velocity of the vector uh, with respect to function t or a directional derivative. So first for that we will find the gradient of t for the given point. After that, we will find the path of the particle, which is nothing but this. Here x coordinate and y coordinate and z coordinate is already given in the question. So I have only created in the vector form. Now we will find the velocity of the particle by differentiating this equation. We have to choose t equal to 2, because at the t equal to 2, the particle will be in the position of the point which is 86 minus 4. We can clearly check by substituting that here. So we'll get velocity at 2, and unit vector in the velocity of that direction. Now we have find the directional derivative of the t in the direction of the unit vector. So putting all that value here, we will obtain the answer as the 77.80384 degrees Celsius per meter. The rate of the change is obtained by this. Now the second part, where we have to find how fast the temperature experienced by the particle. So this is only we have to find in the seconds. So we have to only multiply gradient of t with the velocity vector at 2. So we are doing that only, and we obtain the answer. The changes per second is 734 degrees Celsius. Now section 2, we are designing to soda can, a standard 12 feet oxium food FTO set for fluid oxium can be a cross can of soda, essentially cylinder of the radius 1 inch and height is 5 inch. All of these dimension, how sensitive the volume can be versus the radius for the volume. So we have to find the sensitivity. So we have to find for this is the volume of the cylinder or a can. First we find the small changes in V. This is given by V of R into dr plus V of H into dH. V subscript are denoting partial derivative of V with respect to R, and this is for H. Finding that VR and VH, we are putting that value in the dV equation, and for the given r and h, we obtain this equation where we clearly see that the term which is multiplied with dr is 10 times higher than the term which is multiplied with dh. So small changes in dh can reflect more changes in the term dv. So the r is more sensitive than the h. Now after that, the part B, where we can say that could you design the soda can, appears to be hold more soda, but in the fact holds the same 12 fluid axioms. What might be the dimension? Means here volume is fixed. We have to only find the surface area for given R and H. So this is a volume which is fixed. I convert fluid axiom to the centimeter cube, and surface area which is obtained by this means surface area after two circles plus cylindrical portion. Now we will find gradient of s and gradient of v, and here s is the subject to the constant v, so we will put let like this: gradient of s is equal to lambda gradient of v. Now comparing both the sides, we will obtain this equation 1 and equation 2, and after that solving the equation 2, we will get lambda as a 2 by r. Now putting the lambda equal to 2 by r into the equation 1, so we will obtain h is equal to 2r. Now we h can be written in the terms of r, so we will put into the volumes equation which is subject to the constraint. So we will from there we will obtain r as a 3.8360 centimeter, and h is a 2r, which is uh, 2 times r, and that is 7.6726 centimeter. After that, the Wilson's Lord's formula. The Wilson formula economics says that the economical quantity Q given by this formula, where K, M, and H are the parameters mentioned here, we have to find that to which of the variable K, M, and H is Q is sensitive near the point, means which is sensitive for the given point given the reason. So firstly, we will find a small change in dq will be denoting as qkdk, qmdm, and qhdh. First, we for that we have to find these three equations qk, qm, qh from this equation q, and substituting that equation in the this dq equation, all this, and after at the end we will get this equation, but we have to find the changes at the given point which is 220 0.05. So putting that value in this equation, we lastly obtain this value. Here we can clearly see that the 800 is far way bigger than the 20 and the 2, so that's why that is contributing more in dq, means small changes in dh can reflect more changes in dq. So we have to more careful about H. So H is more sensitive than the K or M for Q. Now, section 3, cheapest storage tank. In this tank we are given with the liquid petroleum gas, and customer specification is that you should have uh, 8,000 meter cube gas in the given cylinder. Cylinder is the size of like this. System is like looking like this. Two hemisphere at the end. So the total surface area of the system is 4 pi r square plus 2 pi r h, and volume is 4 by 3 pi r cube plus pi r square h. And given is we have to contain the volume 8,000 meter cube. So this is so surface area is subject to the constant volume. So firstly, it find gradient of S and gradient of V, and since the S is a constant subject to constant V, we can follow this equation. And lastly, comparing both the sides, we will obtain these two equations. And from this equation 2, we will obtain lambda is equal to 2 by R. And putting lambda equal to 2 by R in equation 1, we will obtain H as a 0. So now H is a 0, so we can directly put H 0 at this term, and we can easily obtain the R. So H 0, so we only remain with these terms, and we can compute R. This is R, and H is already 0. So we have only system which is having the sphere, because the height of the cylinder is 0. Now the hottest point on the space means this is a ellipsoid. This point should satisfy this equation. In the Earth's atmosphere, it is surface begins to heat after 1 hour. The temperature at XYZ on the probe surface is given by this equation. So we have to find the hottest point for this subject to constrain this equation. Now the we will find the gradient of the both of the equation firstly. Then t is a subject to constraint g, so we will equate both the equations, and we get these two equation at the last simplification. So for we will calculating for case 1, which is x not equal to 0. In equation 1, x not equal to 0 and lambda equal to 2. So for this equation, x not equal to 0, lambda equal to 2. So doing that process, we will lastly obtain the these points for the case 1, and for the case 2, x equal to 0 but lambda not equal to 2. So for that, in that case, we will obtain these 3 points. And the last but not the least, x equal to 0 and lambda equal to 2, both can be causes 0, but that case cannot be possible because this point is not present on this subject to the constraint surface. So we cannot consider that point. These 4 points as our main goal. So we will find the t value at the all these point, where we can see that this is the maximum value. So temperature is maximum at this given point. Now section 4, measuring the volume of the pipeline. You plan to calculate the volume inside the stretch pipeline that is 36 inch of diameter and 1 mile long. With which measurement should you be more careful, the length or a diameter? Why? So we have to find out the which diameter. So we have to find the dv, means small changes in v, or small change, or we will change the small change in h or r, and we will result that the what is causing more effectiveness in the change of the volume. So firstly, we will get the diameter, radius converted in the appropriate units, which is uh, useful. And after that, we have find Vr, partial derivative of R with respect to V, which is are the required for the Taylor's formula. So firstly, we will find that. Note that the fourth partial derivative of the any of the term will be 0, because the third partial derivative for the all term is constant. So we can clearly say that the fourth partial derivative will always be 0. Now this is the Taylor's formula. Small change in dr and small change in dl will be given by this formula. Or note that the higher order terms 0 due to the partial derivatives are 0. So we can clearly observe that. Now putting the R and L value in this equation, where we can clearly see that the R terms is only the R terms are having far way bigger coefficient than the any other terms which are present in this equation. So small changes in R can efficiently change value of volume of the pipeline way higher than the other terms which are present in this equation. So we should more careful about the radius, not so careful about the length. So here the eighth question, Ch- change in electrical circuit. Suppose that the current in a electrical circuit is related to this. The circuit is related to V volt, and the resistance R is given by this equation. I is equal to V by R, and voltage, and we drop the voltage by 24 to 23 and resistance by 10 to 800 to 80, 100 to 80. So we drop that by 100 to 80. So after that we will find a small change. We have to find that will I increase or decrease. So we have to find the change in I. So we will find di, and iv will so di can be written as iv into dv plus ir into dr. So we will find iv and dr from the equation. I is equal to v by r, and di is equal to 1 by r dv, substituting this value in this equation. So here given that the voltage is dropped by 1 volt, so 24 to 23, the dv will be minus 1, and a resistance will be dropped by the also by 100 to 80, so that will be minus 20. Now the voltage, now the di is now substituting all of this value in this equation 2. You will get the change in I is 0.038 amperes. So I value is increased. We can clearly say that I value is increased. Now part 2, it is saying that which is more sensitive, I or voltage V. How do you know? So we will firstly find dv by v. So by changing the I, how change appears in the dv or v. So we will, for that we will find v minus v0 by v0, small change in v. So we will obtain that the change in voltage is this, change in resistance is this. So this is the change in percentage. So here the this term will be here, the this answer will come here, the alignment changes, sorry for that. So we can conclude that the I is more sensitive change in resistance, because the small change in volt, small change in I will causes more changes in resistance. So we can clearly say that the change in resistance cannot be causes more change in I. So now we will find the change in di, which is 15.83 percentage. So this is very less this is in value less than voltage V. So I is more sensitive to V. Now this is the problem which I learned from the books or internet. This is the some equation which we have. This is the equation which we have find, which you can see in the report, and some proof which are required for it. Now I directly jump to the question. A spring constant is delta lies along the helix, and RT and cos t I cap and sin t j cap and t k cap is given. Find the IZ and IZ. Suppose the you have another. So first case we will doing the calculation. For the first case, So here the density value is constant delta, and the r is given in the question, and different we will get a vector velocity vector by differentiating that vector, and the velocity vector value of the velocity vector is root 2, and xt will be obtained from the equation rt and yt also. So putting all of this value in the equation iz, which we have proved before the starting the questions, and so we will obtain the moment of inertia at the z-axis 2 root 2 pi delta, and mass will be given by this equation. So again we will get 2 root 2 into pi into delta, and lastly radius of gyration with respect to z-axis will be given by rz equal to square root of I z by m, which is 1. Now in the question, given that we are changing the length of the helix, which is from the 0 to 4 pi, from the 0 to 4 pi, so only if this all the calculation will be same, only the changes will be the limit integral limit in the integration. So this only the limit will be changed, so we will obtain difference answer, which is 4 root 2 pi into delta. Mass will be also be changed, which is depending on the limit. So it is again get 4 root 2 pi into delta, and the radius of gyration will be same because it is independent of the length, so that's why this will always be same. So for the we obtain these equations. Now the another application of the Stokes theorem. Suppose that the butterfly net is square shaped rimmed and the wind blowing through the net. Think about the square rim position at the y-z axis. If the given points are the given points are the edges of corner points of the square, which is here, 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 and here. So here is the force or a wind vector, which is given by this equation. Here the flux F we have to calculate by F. So this is a Stokes theorem. Now here the vector F is given, and we have to find the vector G such that the curl of G is equal to vector F. For that, by definition of the curl of G, we will find this equation and comparing with the F. So we'll get these three equations, and solving these three equation, we will get G1, G2, G3 as following: Z cube by 3, S cube by 3, and Y cube by 3. You can simply solve it by like summing, like integrating partially all of the equation where we require. Now we have to find the flux along with all the sides. Means total flux will be obtained by the flux across the line AB, line DA, line BC, line CD. So for that, in case 1, we will obtain the flux across the line DA. So for that, we are integrating it along with line DA, finding the equation of the direction. And remember, we are doing this in counterclockwise. So for the side DA, we will get 2 by 3 as the answer. For the side AB, similarly doing, we get 0 as the answer. Side BC, we will get 2 by 3 as the answer. And similarly for side CD, we will get 0 answer. So we will obtain total flux as a 4 by 3, which is our answer. Now another topic is surface integral. This is the formula for the surface integral. This is also denoted by d sigma. Now this is the question. Evaluate the pressure force acting on the dam attached to the figure, which is retained reservoir of the water of the width W and the depth H. So under the conditions of hydraulic equilibrium, this is the pressure which is happening on the dam due to store of the water, where rho is the density of the water, g is the gravitational acceleration, h is the height of the dam, and z is the variable, which is of higher, which is flow of the water, that can be vary along with the time with the certain parameters. The total force acting on a dam surface is given by this equation, which is similar to surface integral which we have seen. And n cap is the minus I cap, because water is forcing the dam towards this side, which is opposite direction of the I cap. So P is the pressure on the dam, rho P is the pressure on the dam, and ds is the area obtained by the water in the dam. So now we will integrate with the height and the width. This is the pressure function, direction of the pressure, direction of the force, and along with height and along with width of the water. So we are calculating that at last we will get the force as a rho g w into h square by 2. So this is the value of the height, sorry, this is the value of the force, and this is the direction of the force. So this 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 rho into g into w into h square by 2 force is acting on this dam, and its direction is minus I cap. This is obtained by the surface integral. Now, the D'Albert's formula, using that formula for the vibration in the infinite length leak, this is the recall part, which is for the equations which are required to solve this question. For the given string, vibration of the string is at the position 2 and t time, where we have to find the vibration at the position 2 and time unit 1, where the initial position of string by the function x and initial velocity of string is 1 unit. So here is the given function for the wave equation. Comparing that equation with the standard equation, which is utt equal to c square by uxx, and this is the initial condition which we can easily obtain by the given in the questions. So this is c square is equal to 1. So c equal to 1. We can also consider minus 4, but the answer will be same, but we are going through with only one thing, not all thing. uh, Here we have put c is equal to 1. All this term in this equation we will putting c equal to 1, so we will get this equation. After that, fx value x and gx value 1, putting this value in this equation, so we will lastly obtain u of xt is equal to x plus t. So we have to find the vibration of string at the position 2 and time 1 unit. So putting the value of the x as a 2 and t is a 1, so we'll obtain 3. So 3 unit of vibration is occurring for the position 2 and time t 1 unit. Now heat equation. For the heat equation, you have to find uxx, and this is the standard equation for the heat equation. This is wrong. There will be heat equation, and this is the boundary condition. This is the initial condition. This is the general solution for the heat equation. The problem statement is that a uniform rod of 20 centimeter of lead insulated over the its sides and kept over the 0 degree Celsius, means starting point and ending point are kept on 0 degree Celsius, which is our initial condition, sorry, boundary condition. But initial temperature is given by this function, and the given heat function is this uxx equal to 1 by a square ut. So this is the initial condition, which is equal to fx. This is a boundary condition, which is 0, and length of the rod is 20, so L will be 20. And comparing the heat equation for with the standard equation, so we will obtain k is equal to a square. Now putting these all value in the general solution of the heat equation, we will get the equation 1. Now dn is equal to 2 by 20, and 0 integrating we want to find dn. So here fx value is given, and also L value is given, so we will putting these all values in the dn equations and substituting pi x by 20 with the t, where the dx will be equal to 20 by pi t and limit will be changed to 0 to pi. Putting all of this in equation, we can clearly see that following this formula, if n is equal to 1, then we can only have answer as 1. Otherwise, we will have answer as a 0 for the other ends. Now, expanding with this summation, we will only left with the term d1 and other terms will be 0. So lastly, we have obtained this equation, which is required equation. The temperature of any point x and any time t on the rod will be given by sine of pi x by 20 into e raised to minus x square pi square t by 400. Thank you.